At least 6 high-ranking officers of the 155th Marine Brigade of the Pacific Fleet were killed on July the 2nd when the armed forces of Ukraine struck a private house in Korenevo, Kursk Region, which housed a temporary deployment point for the Russian military with HIMARS. The calculation was conducted by Nova Gazeta Europe, based on open sources. The Defense Ministry initially confirmed the death of Major General Mikhail Gudkov, Deputy Commander-in-Chief of the Russian Navy for Coastal Forces and Artillery. The ministry said it happened on July the 2nd on the border of the Kursk region with Ukraine. Putin awarded the military man the Gold Star Medal for the second time, already posthumously. Thus, Gudkov became the first in history twice hero of Russia. Appointing the general to the post of Deputy Navy Chief in March, Putin said that he would command the entire fleet's marine infantry as well as missile and artillery coastal forces. The president called the 155th Brigade one of the best in the Russian armed forces. The unit is stationed in Primorsky Krai. The head of the region, Oleg Kozemyakov, said that along with Gudkov, his loyal comrade, Lieutenant Colonel Nariman Shikaliev, who had served under contract in the Marines since the beginning of the war, died. The officer was buried in Derbent on July the 5th. The administration of a district in Chuvashia reported on July the 11th a farewell to Colonel Sergei Ilyin of the 155th Brigade, as reported by RIA Novosti. On the same day, Barnaul authorities published an obituary for second-rank Captain Alexander Shipunov. Another officer killed was Brigade Chief of Staff Colonel Leonid Bashkadin from Kursk. He was reported by the veterans organization Combat Brotherhood. And on July the 7th, a post about the death of Bashkadin's aide, Major Shamil Murtazaliev, in the Kursk border region of Dagestan appeared in the Telegram channel of the Botlishki district of Dagestan. According to the Ashes Kursk Public, a total of 12 Russian military personnel were killed in the AFU strike on the field headquarters in Korenevo. An obituary from the veteran organization Typhoon said that 4 missiles flew into the forward command post, and in addition to Gudkov, at least 10 people were killed, many of whom were senior officers, the new brigade commander, his deputies, battalion commanders, and service chiefs. Kommersant's source claimed that the fire raid took place during a formation of personnel. The 155th Brigade was involved in the invasion from the beginning. According to Ukrainian military intelligence, the unit's Marines were involved in the killing of civilians in Bucha, Irpin, and Gostomel in the Kiev region, as well as the shooting of prisoners of war. In August 2024, the military brigade published a video with the head of a Ukrainian soldier impaled on a stake.
A Ukrainian Air Force MiG-29 fighter jet struck a crossing near the city of Vasilyevka in Zaporizhia region, which is under occupation. The crossing was being used by the Russian army for transporting armored combat vehicles and personnel. The precise strike, carried out with an American-made GBU-62 air-to-ground bomb, destroyed the crossing and eliminated the military equipment in the area. It is worth noting that Ukrainian aviation has increased its strikes on Russian positions in occupied territories, as well as in Russia's border regions. As a result of these strikes, many Russian soldiers and military vehicles have been destroyed, particularly those hit by Western-made bombs.
Ukrainian armed forces advanced in the northern and northeastern parts of Kondratovka. Analysts from the Institute for the Study of War described the situation in the Sumy region. Thus, Ukrainian military observer Konstantin Mashovets reported that Ukrainian forces advanced between Kondratovka and Konstantinovka east of Alexeyevka and entered Novonikolaevka. Russian war correspondents claim that on July the 8th, the Ukrainian armed forces entered Kondratovka from the northwest and Alexeyevka from the northeast. One of the Z publics claims that Ukrainian forces are already in the northern and central parts of Kondratovka. Thus, it was possible to cut off Putin's army from the ground supply line along the S-191502 Novonikolaevka-Vladimirovka highway. To support the withdrawal of its troops from Kondratovka, the Kremlin has transferred units of the 40th Marine Brigade of the Russian Armed Forces to the section of the front. The occupiers from the 155th Marine Brigade, who are trying to maintain control of positions south of Alexeyevka, are also in a difficult situation. Analysts write that the offensive of the Russian armed forces in the Sumy region slowed down in late May and early June. Since mid-June, the Ukrainian armed forces have begun counterattacks, reclaiming territory after territory. Commander-in-Chief of the Armed Forces of Ukraine, Oleksandr Syrsky, stated that the fighting in the Slobozansky direction remains intense. Ukrainian forces are not only holding their positions, but are also fighting in the Kursk region and in the Belgorod region. It was in May and June that the Russian Ministry of Defense decided to transfer its elite units of unmanned systems from Kursk and Sumy regions to Donbass. However, Russia may also reinforce its forward units in the north of Sumy Oblast in the near future to continue its advance towards the city of Sumy. Ukrainian forces have halted Russia's recent advance into the northeastern Sumy region and stabilized the front line near the Russian border. Recently, Ukrainian military's commander-in-chief, General Oleksandr Syrsky, stated that a successful defense in the Sumy region has prevented Russia from redeploying around 50,000 troops, including elite, airborne and marine brigades, to other parts of the front line. Based on the results of May and June, we can say that this year's wave of the enemy's summer offensive from Russian territory is faltering, Syrsky said. Syrsky said a special defense group has been formed to improve security and defense in Sumy and surrounding communities. Its focus is improving fortifications and accelerating the construction of additional defensive barriers.